Hello YouTube, Liverpool fan in Japan here, the Miyazaki man Sai, and in this video I want you to question whether you ever want to put Trent starting in your hypothetical dream midfield ever again. Here's why. Trent at the moment is a deadly bishop. He can attack from anywhere on the pitch. Long diagonals, the sneak attacks, absolutely opening attacking possibilities that tactical managers never thought was possible. There's never been a right back quite like Trent Alexander Arnold, and we have won everything with Trent as a right back. Now here is what he offers from right back position. He has a great cross from deep from the right hand side. He can switch the play long to left hand side, especially prominent when Darwin Núñez is on the ball, pinning back to their full back and bringing their offside line much deeper, which means we can press and push the team. He can translate into the right half space as well, meaning he can go around the outside down to Salah down the wing, isolating Salah one-on-one against the fullback, eliminating the midfield. He can transition into the pivot, double base into the midfield as well, which allows him to dictate, overload the midfield with a double base, a double pivot. We allow protection from that area because Konate can go into the wide channel, and that way we're very, very secure. Also, he can predominantly transition into the offensive right half space, into Salah's kind of area when we need him for a long shot, a through ball and a cross as well. Now, how come when we see Trent Alexander Arnold at right back, we measure him against the offensive capabilities and potential he has, but also the negative traits of him as a defender? But when people hypothetically are talking about him in midfield, why do you only focus on what he's good at, which is through balls, shooting, that kind of thing, right? Why do you never look at all of the facets of a midfielder and what a true midfielder needs to do, the all-around game, and where they position themselves in match? Okay, let's get into it. So I don't want to make this video too long, but let's just get through all of his offensive capabilities, defensive qualities and issues with him in each respective position. So okay, let's start Trent at right back, where he actually is. Knowingly that we've won everything with Trent in right back. It's only kind of gathered pace because Conor Bradley's amazing debut and performance against Chelsea and against all the other teams that people are saying, okay, with Conor Bradley at right back, let's put Trent into midfield. Does Trent even deserve a place in midfield? I highly don't think he does. And I'll show you the attributes and the reasons why very, very shortly. But let's go with our standard formations. We're going to put Dominik Szoboszlai here, and Pep Lijnders and Klopp have derived this formation to make the most of Trent's creative capabilities and qualities, and he leads the statistics on every metric, and he is a big reason why we are the top of the Premier League table. He is a right back, he can defend. Don't talk any crap and follow the narrative from the media. He can defend. He may not be the greatest defender in the world, but he can defend, and he outright is a defender. He didn't start his career as a defender. Granted, he started in midfield. He's played sixth position. Pep Lijnders talked about getting him on the ball to make him a more well-rounded player, but he can only break into Liverpool's first team lineup in the right back position, taking over from Nathaniel Klein. Love me some Kleiny. Okay, so Trent at right back. What does he do? He's got the best delivery in world football from right back position. We know that, granted. So when he goes into this kind of position, Konate goes out wide, Van Dijk covers here, Robertson free at the back, Endo, Jones, Szoboszlai. If Trent goes into this position, he has the facility to go around the outside to Salah, pinning him 1v1 against fullback. Beats the press, puts Salah into a prominent position as well, and very, very good. Additionally, he can switch the ball, cutting inside left foot or right foot over the top to Núñez. Now, if Núñez is on the left-hand side in this hypothetical situation, the defender can't get tight to him because Núñez's chest control, physical prowess will always get the ball. If he stands off, Núñez will have a run at you and you'll be absolutely smashed and defeated. If you press him too tightly, he can roll you, can turn you, or he can hit into space, or Trent can hit the space in and behind the defender, and Núñez will still get the ball as well. Very, very difficult to play against Núñez when he's high and wide in that position, and it gets him the first touches and gets him into the game, lets him get his feet warmed up for later when he strikes some shots at goal. Hopefully something goes in. Okay, so Núñez presses the whole opposition backline back with Trent on the field. The existence of Salah and Núñez up high and Jota in behind as well, into that slot as well, become a very, very prominent threats. As an opposition coach, it's very hard to set your team up appropriately because you want to press, but when you have long ball players like Alisson, Van Dijk and Trent in this team, it's very, very hard to always press up high because of the fact that they can change the phase of play by distributing the ball and setting up the attack straight away, 1v1 against a fullback, or 3v3, or even 4v3, depending on how you set up, which means the number 8s and number 10s can push up into the position, get in position and really pin you in, and then you get into this kind of shape, which is an absolute nightmare for the opposition because what do? You're completely penned in. It's hard to break out. You can't go in behind because Van Dijk and Konate, Robertson very quick, will clean up as well, and Konate mainly covers Trent down the line as well. So very, very difficult for the opposition to do anything in this kind of shape. Trent facilitates that by being a long ball master. But also, you've seen recently Trent inverts into a double pivot at the bottom. This is particularly effective with Ricardo Endo there, who's an intelligent shadow who can cover him, because what happens then is Trent goes into this position and we end up with this kind of formation here, which means Trent is protected again. What Trent has the ability to do in this kind of position, from a more central position, is hit the more diagonals the same as before, over to Núñez, over to Salah, but he's closer to the pitch, closer to the ball, which means the ball travels there quicker. Additionally, he can break the lines with a line-breaking ball into Szoboszlai, into half space, cross-field into Jones, play the short balls, additional man in midfield and the triangles, and on the break as well. This is a nice box formation that's very, very hard to break because Robertson can push here, Konate can push here, and you've got a free in the middle that's very, very hard to break as well. So this predominantly is very, very solid defensively, and we don't suffer from the issue of them on the counter hitting the ball over our right back slot because Trent is pushed up, because Konate is covering, and what a beast. He can defend very, very prominently as well. So this is tactical flexibility, and the reason why this works very effectively is because Trent has the time to roam into the spaces of maximum effect. He has the space to really go up there because there's no way the left winger can be floating around him all the time, or the left side in number 8, and even the forward doesn't want to be dragged out to mark a right back. They need to be causing their own issue and their own hassle, and it's very hard for opposition to nullify Trent. So what do? When they have the ball, someone like Martinelli, maybe Havertz as well, whoever, Odegaard, they will be overloading their left-hand side to try to target the area Trent is because they don't fancy him as a defender in a solid unit. Now that also brings our issues when he's in the right-sided 8 slot, and we'll get to that in a bit. I never want to hear about Trent in the number 6 slot starting himself because we'll just be overrun for reasons I will bring up very, very soon. Additionally, when Trent does push up into right half space and you've got Szoboszlai here, he can transition there from a deep position. So he's got a running start to get into this kind of half space here, and from there he can whip those dangerous balls in and behind to Salah, to Núñez, to Jota, getting as high and wide as possible, which means Salah can go in this position and he can roam in that whole area here. That is his area of dominance. A win condition is to get Trent anywhere in and amongst this area here, and he can pick a man out with a plum onto a sixpence, header straight away, or header back across goal, or laid off across goal to create a goal scoring opportunity. Szoboszlai is very, very disciplined at covering him. Used to be Henderson as well, could have been Milner as well. Very, very good tactical setup because Szoboszlai is defensively solid. He's got discipline, he works hard, maximum effort, and he'll combine and give the option to Trent as well. Similarly with Mo Salah is a great target man to hit because Salah, cutting inside, can hit Trent back on the overlap, can hit it back to Szoboszlai who hit Trent on the overlap, can play it out wide who can hit Trent on the overlap to play it back in as well. So it works because of Trent coming from deep to go into the areas of maximum effect, and you've also seen Trent on occasion, when we really need a goal, go into this kind of playmaking, half space, kind of right-sided number 10 really. He's not really number 8. He's up here high and wide, try and slip a ball through to Jota or to Núñez or to Gakpo or whoever, or win it out to Salah, take a shot himself, really play make and make the difference in the final third. But he doesn't start there for the same reasons and the same conclusions why he doesn't start in midfield anywhere that Klopp has concluded, and I'll show you why that is right now. Okay, so in a world where you want Trent as a right-sided midfielder, you're talking about putting Conor Bradley here. Many comments are saying Conor Bradley right-hand side, which means Trent starts in midfield. Does Trent deserve to start in this midfield? Okay, he hasn't got the most experience in midfield, but even more worryingly, let's look at the attributes that this midfielder needs. Stamina, up and down, escaping the marker. Bradley's going to bomb forward, otherwise you're taking a lot of Bradley's offensive capabilities out, which means Trent has to revert back and cover. You've just taken Trent from an offensive position into a covering position, which takes away what Trent is good at to allow Bradley's offensive capabilities. So wouldn't it make more sense to have Szoboszlai, who can offer that role, be more defensively solid, have a better engine, probably more experienced in all the roles of offensive attacking play in and around the area and the trickery to get away from the marker? You're inverting Trent back into a position you're trying to get him away from. Doesn't make sense. Secondly, Trent in this position, it's much more easier for the opposition to mark. Okay, so let's say they play their 4-2-3-1 or whatever they want to play. Literally, you know, out of these players here, Jones is going to take the ball, roam with the ball a bit, short ball passing. Endo will take the ball, look for options and trying to break the line. It's Trent who gets the ball and delivers through balls over the top. So all you do is you sit that player on him and you ask this player, every time the ball comes into Trent, so every time the ball goes in here, okay, straight away close him. Straight away, left-sided winger, in you go. Close him. Trent is not a great player under pressure. Under the offensive press, he is one of our worst players in the congested areas to do something with it. Szoboszlai has really underrated little jinks and silky touches that gets himself out of trouble, and the physicality to buffer a player out of the way as well. Similarly, Mac Allister, very low centre of gravity, can wheedle his way out. Elliott as well, very technical, very good at wheedling his way out. Jones, he is the prototype for keeping the ball, controlling the ball. Trent's options are very, very limited. And especially if you're playing the ball to Trent here, he's not going to get the ball bounced back from Salah and Jota and looking forward. He's going to get the ball from Endo or Bradley or Konate or Van Dijk or Alisson. So he's facing goal. Even worse, he's probably one of the worst players with his back to goal in turning and making an opposition. So the best thing he can do is lay it off. But in terms of the passing lanes to lay it off a la Pep Guardiola Barcelona style, he's also not one of the best. If you ask me, if you were to play rondos and who you want laying the ball first time, I'm looking at Jones, I'm looking at Endo, I'm looking at Mac Allister, I'm looking at Szoboszlai, even Gakpo, even Gravenberch I'd probably take ahead of Trent in terms of first touch and laying it off. So he's one of the weakest players we have in midfield who can lay the ball off on a first touch. His back is going to be to goal because there's always going to be pressing a play on him. He's never going to get the opportunity to face forwards, and on the half turn he's one of the weakest players in our midfield if you want to start him in midfield. It gives the opposition manager the easiest task to nullify him out of the game. Take away his space and you take away half the player Trent is. Take away the ability for Trent to roam and get into positions of influence, you take away Trent Alexander as a player. All people think about is the ability to cross, ability to shoot, ability to hit a through ball. They think he's Kevin De Bruyne. He's not Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne started as a silky, mercurial winger who was absolutely fantastic at going down the line, fantastic at cutting inside, fantastic at shooting with left foot, shooting with right foot, delivering with left foot, delivering with right foot. But more importantly, he's got amazing engine, amazing game intelligence, huge experience in offensive third, and because he's a natural winger and a silky dribbler with more speed than Trent Alexander Arnold and more physicality, he can wheedle his way out. He can burst past the player with physicality. He can do the Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, Gakpo, bursting past the player, breaking the press, breaking the lines as well. His movement off the ball is superb. His body language is always controlled, but intense, with intensity. Do you associate intensity with Trent Alexander Arnold? No, you do not. You associate technical proficiency and wanting to get him on the ball in positions where he's got time, space and vision and looking forward. Where does he do that from? Right back, which is why we designed a system for him to operate from right back. Okay, so of the midfield positions that he could do, he would be much better on the right-sided 8 than left-sided 8 because he's not left-footed and he doesn't really work with that combination of players down that side, because the outside ball in and around the outside, I doubt he'll bend the same ball left-footed into Nunes down the wing here or into Lucho Diaz, for example. At least it's not as efficient or as controlled as he would with his right foot. Similarly, if on the left hand side you're hitting crossfield balls this way, the in-swinging right ball makes it easier for the fullback to get, as opposed to the out-swinging into the body into the left hand side. So Trent has to be a number 8. If people are suggesting that Trent goes into the number 6 position because they want to rate him as a kind of fullback, a kind of quarterback in NFL American football, this is possibly an even worse place to put him, in my opinion, because you, as an opposition manager, know straight away, aha, this guy, what does this guy do? How does he get the ball? He gets the ball receiving it from Van Dijk, from Konate, from Alisson with his back to goal. I can tell you on 3 separate occasions when Trent has tried to receive the ball here under pressure, lost the ball with a dodgy first touch, or even got a good first touch and got dispossessed and tackled, and straight away they are in and on our goal line, attacking us in a worse position on a turnover in front of our defence, with only a defender shift to the side and overload and overlap and Alisson to be on a long shot, or even worse, slipping a ball in behind and in it goes, and it's a 50-50 gamble whether Alisson can starfish shape that and save our bacon. Trent here is completely nullified because any formation of midfield they play, they can compose the trap and press him straight away. He's never ever going to get his head up and be able to ping a ball. And even worse, he has to go deeper and deeper and deeper to be able to get the ball, to distribute the ball. But why do you want Trent here? Because Van Dijk is just as good as Trent as hitting the long balls and picking someone out. I would say, yeah, I said that. Van Dijk has great long ball distribution. It's one of his strengths as well. So by placing him here, you are literally asking him to do the hardest job in the game, which is faced with your back to goal in the most pressured situation where you must not lose the ball, and to work his space and work his way out of this position. He's going to drop deeper and deeper and deeper. So what is the point? What is the point in having here? Because now you're overloaded in midfield, and these two are going to be hopeless because they're behind the press and behind the lines, and they're going to go in positions that are absolutely useless as well. So Trent in this position, people only think of his great Pirlo-esque long balls, Xabi Alonso long balls, dictating the play, moving the ball around. He's not the best short ball passer of the ball. He's not a Thiago. He's not a Xavi Hernandez. He is not a Busquets. He is not a Rodri. He does not get the ball, play the ball, get the ball, play the ball. He gets the ball to try to smack the ball into the corner lines or in and behind the defence, into the strikers, but he can't get his head up from that position, and places where he can get his head up in that position is further back, and that's even longer to get there, which gives the opposition more time to set up and camp you, basically. Camp you and play their banks of 4 and win the second ball and long balls, and you lost possession of the ball. He will not play in a single pivot, and in double pivot as well, they'll do the same thing. They will allow the second pivot to get the ball and just nullify and mark him out of the game. Now, when you take away his vision, his time, his space, his long balls, he's not going to drive past the defensive line. He's not going to play a short passing game that opens you up and move into space, pass and move, Liverpool groove, etc. He is a technical wizard who needs space and time to move the ball to a position where you can initiate the next phase and go from there. The assist before the assist, ultimately. Okay, and he doesn't have the turn like Thiago, and he can't take the ball under pressure and move into the space to start building up a game. I don't think that is predominantly his position. So people argue that he is weak in terms of being a defensive player on this side, and why would you play him there? It weakens Liverpool defensively. Now, is that really true? I want to see every defensive stat from the whole season. Now that we are top of the league with Trent Alexander starting at right back, how many goals we concede, how many goals we concede down the right hand side, how many tackles he made, how many influential plays he makes in terms of creating chances and opportunities. There's offensive attacking metrics, which is why he's in the team, against actual goal scoring opportunities. Now, I don't want to hear anything about how, oh, the player went out and around the outside, out around the outside, Trent is useless, because sometimes you bring them into a zone where you're expected to turn over the ball. This is actually one of the best opportunities to turn over the ball, because what he can do here is either go back out, which most people do because they want to retain possession, or try a really weak cross, either lofted or dinked into the centre area where Alisson will clean up, or Van Dijk or Konate will clean up, and off we go into Salah, and then off we go and play. So it's about containment. It's about bringing people into the zones of containment and least damage against your goal, reducing the goal threat ultimately. It's not about dispossessing the player or getting the ball cleanly or slide tackling or taking them out, because Endo is a master anyway. That's why he's in the team. But in terms of defensive actions as a unit and nullifying the danger, Trent isn't outright the best right back defensively in the world, but he can defend. He is a defender. He's defending the Jurgen Klopp team that's won absolutely everything, so don't give me any rubbish around Trent can't defend. He can defend, he's not the best defensively, but he offers a lot more in terms of his positional play from this position, because he can transition into the areas of maximum effect, like here. If he sees the space, if this guy is too high up or too far back, Szoboszlai pulling him out wide, etc., he can go in here. Or against teams where we can push the defensive line up and play him in the quarterback role, he can go into the quarterback role here, and then our shape allows us to really push everyone up high, because we can cover for his dictating of the play from the deep position, which is here, right? He can distribute the ball and find all the angles. Trent ultimately needs time and space to do his thing, and you are taking away all his time and space by putting him in midfield. First touch, he ranks quite lowly in our midfield. Ability to beat offensive press, he ranks quite lowly in our midfield. Offensive press, pressing as a machine, intensity in press and pressing the opposition, I think he's quite low in that regard. Stamina, to be fair to him, he's probably mid. He's definitely not higher than Szoboszlai or Jones or Endo or even Mac Allister in terms of stamina and bombing up and getting up and down. And then when you're overlapping and underlapping as well, Trent into those positions, he can do that, but he's very reliant on the opposition being dragged away by our players, because if someone man marks him and is tight on him, he's not going to get into an open space, and I wouldn't trust him to beat a player 1v1 on the dribble anyway. So he's just so nullified in terms of his technical attributes and what he can do and what he can offer from that midfield position. You're literally robbing him of the opportunity to do his thing, which is mind-boggling to me. So ultimately, you tell me in the comments if you want Trent starting midfield, or if you want Conor Bradley right back and you're saying Trent deserves a place in midfield. Why? Why would you put Trent in midfield against all the points that I pointed out? You're going against his first touch, his ability to do things in space with his back to goal, congested area, having to use his dribbling skills much more, having to use his physicality much more, having to burn his stamina reserves much more, having to involve him in a press, taking away some of the intensity of someone like Szoboszlai pressing, having him wiggle out of danger when he is heavily pressed as well. You're going to see Trent with much less of the ball. And his ability to get into those offensive positions is yet to be seen. I haven't seen him really wiggle out of a tight press to get into a yard of space to really make something happen. He's not a Gerrard. He hasn't got the burst of pace that a Gerrard has to get out of that position. So, yeah, just my thoughts there. I think Trent is an ultimate player. He can become a queen, not just a long diagonal merchant, a long ball distributor who can start the next phase of play and really dictate with his ball playing skills. He can become someone that is a roaming destroyer that can really penetrate the opposition by finding the space from the right back position, whether it's in the right half space on here, and bringing the balls in and around behind, because they really have to cover. They really have to cover everything that Trent can hit from that position. He can hit everything. They really have to cover that. Or when he transitions into this position, they have to block the lines of the shots. They have to block the through ball. They have to block the ball out wide as well. He can navigate into the positions of maximum damage from the right back position, which gives him the freedom to really do that, as opposed to from the central position, where he very likely, for me, will always be man marked and marked out of the game, or at least his influence will wane because he has less space to operate and he really has to find the right to play his game. That's the main thing. In midfield, he has to find the right to play his game, whereas from right back, he always has the right to play his game, because there's no manager in their right mind who will sacrifice a player in this position here. No manager wants to man mark in this position here, because it's absolutely crazy. Basically, you're leaving this massive hole in the midfield available for the other players, and the world-class players all around Liverpool, and you can't just mark Trent in a right-back position because it's nonsensical. And no left winger as well, as far as I'm aware, really wants to be playing a whole game marking. They want to be attacking, doing their thing, part of the offensive transitions, part of the offensive third, being a goal threat, and not man marking Trent Alexander Arnold in right-back position. Hopefully that clarifies the reasoning why I think Trent is completely wasted and you're killing his potential in midfield. But if you disagree, let me know in the comments below. Really keen to hear your arguments for Trent in midfield, and I don't just want to hear the positive attributes, balance it up by negating all of the negatives that I mentioned as well. Thank you very much. If you like this video, subscribe as well. Miyazaki-man Ichiban, like this video, helps it get seen by the algorithm, much appreciated. Actually, I really enjoyed the chess analogy of Trent being a bishop that can become a queen as he evolves in his right back role. He is a captured bishop in midfield. He'll never become a queen. That bishop is captured and you'll probably lose the game. No, Liverpool very strong. We won't lose the game. We might draw. Saying that though, let's talk about other players as chess pieces. Gravenberch, he's obviously the pawn, right? He's the pawn. He can become anything, but right now he's a pawn. Endo is the rook, the castle with lateral, horizontal coverage. Can go down the lines, can break the lines with a ball as well. Solid. Let me find something. Endo's a castle, baby. An interesting analogy. It's not to do with strength, but just the way they play. Salah is obviously a knight, a horsey, because he can cut inside and he can fork you on the inside and the outside, similar to the winger. I'm going to give you a special surprise what piece Nunez is, and you want to check out that video next year. Okay, peace.